6 a.m. Ken Grubin wants his wheels up early. He's going fishing. His Cessna 172 may not look much like a boat, and flying may not seem like an ordinary way to catch fish, but then Ken is no ordinary fisherman. Here's what Ken and others like him are after: Menhaden. These are small herring-like fish, sometimes called pogies or moss bunkers, which travel and feed together in schools so large they can be spotted by low-flying aircraft. American fishermen have hunted the Menhaden as a bountiful source of protein and oil for over 100 years. And in that time, the vessels may have changed from sail to steam to diesel, the hardware from signal flags to two-way radios. But despite all the changes in modern technology, we're pleased to report that the species is still in great shape. Menhaden continue to be a plentiful and self-renewing natural resource, one that's providing us with more useful products all the time. I'm Alan Sater, and this is a success story. In modern-day Menhaden fishing, the spotter pilot works together with the crew and equipment of a large refrigerated steamer, which may carry well over 1 million fish. When a school is spotted, 2 boats carrying a 1,500-foot-long purse seine net are lowered to the water. As they near the fish, tightly bunched near the surface of the water, the boats separate and race to set the net around them. The 4,000-pound purse seine pays out quickly as the boats encircle the school. Time is of the essence here, because the fish may panic and break their close formation. When the net is joined, the crews immediately set to work, closing the circle. Hydraulic power blocks are used to help the crew haul the nets aboard, forcing the fish into a small section of the net called the bunt. Once done entirely by hand, this work still requires great physical strength and endurance. When the net has been hauled close, the steamer comes alongside. A giant vacuum hose is lowered into the water, and the fish are rapidly pumped aboard into the ship's refrigerated holds. A single setting of the purse seine may net up to 300,000 Menhaden, along with almost no other species of fish or marine life. The catch is so efficient because Menhaden swim in tightly packed schools that shy away from other sea life. Because Menhaden are small, bony, very oily, and have a large head-to-body ratio, they're not valued directly as a food fish, but instead are processed into fish meal and oil, which are used in the manufacture of such products as poultry and other livestock feed, margarine, and shortenings. And because they're toothless phytoplankton feeders, they're not catchable on a hook and line, so fishermen don't value them except as bait. In a way, Menhaden are the perfect commercial fish. Plentiful, self-renewing, usable in a variety of ways, and catchable in large quantities without accidentally killing other valuable fish that people want to eat or catch for sport. Most Menhaden are caught in coastal waters about a mile offshore, areas which are frequented by pleasure craft and sport fishermen. So the industry has learned to be very conscious of its responsibilities as a good marine citizen. Once those captains and crews have filled the holds of their ships, they offload their cargo of Menhaden at processing facilities like this one. The The chilled fish are pumped into insulated storage bins called raw boxes, where they're kept until processing begins. First, the fish are cooked. Then, while still hot, they pass through huge screw presses, which squeeze out most of their water and body oil. After the solid portion, called press cake, is dried, and the liquid portion, known as press liquor, is screened and run through a centrifuge to separate out the oil, the processing is basically complete. Great pains are taken to ensure that no part of the fish is wasted. This plant is producing two primary products, fish meal and fish oil. Each is important to us in a variety of ways, but neither is very pretty or fragrant. And that can be an issue sometimes.
There's going to be a certain amount of odor whenever you render fish. But the industry is committed to being a good neighbor. They've installed, for example, air scrubbers on their dryers. This type of equipment reduces the odor as well as the particulates which are in the discharges. They built the stacks taller so that the discharges can better mix with the air. They've installed wastewater treatment systems to clean the water that comes from the fish before it's put back into the rivers and the marine environment.
The discharge water from these plants is treated to remove its protein content. Protein tends to leach oxygen from the water, so it isn't good to have protein here. But everywhere else in the Menhaden industry, protein is the name of the game. Menhaden fish meal, for example, is used as a high-protein ingredient in livestock feed, particularly for poultry and swine. Research shows that laying hens fed diets containing fish meal exhibit increased egg production, and both chickens and pigs fed this way show more resistance to disease and increased growth. That translates into lower prices at America's meat counters and fast food restaurants, and better eating for everyone. Menhaden fish meal is also becoming important as a feed in aquaculture, known popularly as fish farming. As the world's population multiplies and we require more abundant and efficient methods of feeding ourselves, aquaculture has become a growth industry, nearly doubling in the last 10 years. High-protein feed made from fish meal is helping to make that possible. Then there's Menhaden oil, with its high percentage of polyunsaturated fat. That's the good kind. Did you know that this has been used in Europe for many years as a cooking oil? It's also used to make margarine and shortenings. Together, Menhaden meal and oil constitute nearly 40% of the total U.S. fish export volume every year. Not a small number. That's over 250 million pounds of oil alone. In fact, if you've ever been to France and eaten their wonderful croissants or pastries, chances are they were baked with fish oil. Up until recently, Menhaden oil was only used in America to manufacture a variety of industrial products, such as cosmetics, paints, and water-resistant coatings. But now that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved its domestic use as a food ingredient, Menhaden oil is becoming a part of your bread, cake, and cookies, or any other products made with shortening. It's plentiful and inexpensive, and studies show that there are some very good reasons to use it.
The research on fish oils, Menhaden oil in particular, is very promising, and that's one of the reasons that the National Marine Fisheries Service is so interested in it. The Menhaden industry has had a long tradition of working cooperatively with the research management communities, both in the state, federal government, and universities. That's been very positive, and it's provided us a great deal of information, not only about Menhaden, but a number of other resources as well. The willingness of that industry to allow us on their vessels, their aircraft, to collect data for us has been very positive overall.
We're not sure even today what other contributions this useful little fish might make in the future. One thing is certain, though. After more than 100 years, the Menhaden fishery is alive and well, working hard, and looking forward to tomorrow.